Here on Zotac. How we're getting into this game, spawning in the lower left location of the map. Again, red once more. It's the Red Zerg Complexities Rise.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Daybreak, it is the pink Zerg. It is Gosustyle. Now, will he be like Psy in this
Nope,
match?
just stop right there.
Come on, I had to.
Yeah, actually, I
Psy
read
beat
this thing.
Fever.
I read this thing recently. Yeah, that's amazing. Where it's like, what if we were bringing the end of the world on ourselves? Like this dance is like some ritual to summon like the devil, and when he hits 1 billion views, like that's how you know the world's gonna end. And December was it 21st, 2012 or whatever it is.
Oh no.
The other one too was good was for Hurricane Sandy. They were saying, what if Gangnam Style was actually a giant rain dance, and we brought this on ourselves,
Oh, that's terrible.
summoning the storm. But talking a little bit more about StarCraft, Zerg versus Zerg, as we were saying a little bit before the game started, it's not nearly as scrappy as it used to be. It's still very back and forth. You get a lot of Baneling, a lot of Zergling. Whoever mismicros the least wins type thing. But when it starts to refine itself once you get to the point of, will someone go Mutalist? Do they go Roach Infestor Hydra or just Roach Infestor? I mean, there's not a whole lot of different tech paths you can take, but it's all about how you use them.
Precisely, and it's a lot of what counters what, and just sort of
Well, I
managing
mean,
it from there.
technically, you take a look at it, like a good fungal and a couple infested terrans will completely counter Mutalisks. But if you
Yep,
split them, you've got that map control, you take the overlords, and you're not looking to get them killed by going for the mineral harass, and you don't lose them to those infestors, then the game changes entirely.
exactly, and yeah, sometimes you just see Roach Hydra, and then Infestors added in, so.
And we have
So
pool first versus hatchery first.
yeah,
The
I wanted to
difference
talk
is
about
only going to
that.
be like, well, I mean, it's only the difference of like a drone or two. It's not a huge deal. You got that additional queen as well, I guess, but
It
it kind
is.
of because there's no sides of aggression just yet with the lack of gas. Okay, we have Gosustyle actually starting his gas here, but I mean, right now, really, there's not a big difference in this opener. However, if Gosustyle gets that 100 gas early, we could see some very quick Zergling aggression. And Rise, I mean, we've seen him in the team. Like he's not too good at dealing with counterattacks.
It's kind of interesting though that it looks like Gosustyle, despite getting his pool later, is going to be getting speed first, and that'll actually give him a huge amount of map control. Even if you have speed for 10 seconds before your opponent, that can make a huge
Oh
difference in the
yeah,
really early
you
game.
just watch those Zerglings scrap back and forth as slow mode, and then all of a sudden one kicks in, boom, the boosters go off, and you see them go light speed. It makes the biggest
Yeah,
difference. But Rise now collecting his own gas as well, as we can see, though he is considerably far behind Gosustyle in gas. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's like these matchups again. It comes down to like who does what weirdly where. Banelings, of course, it doesn't matter how much map control you get, how many workers you pick off. If you're better with Banelings than your opponent, you're gonna win the early game. There's no question about it.
pretty much. And sometimes we just see Ling Bane wars still, even in this day and age, where the entire game is just Lings versus Banelings. We don't see any of these later units. I'm pretty sure I've watched a GSL game recently where it's just amounted to that. On Muspelheim, it was GSTL.
Well, you can see some crazy comebacks come from this too. I mean, just recently,
Mm-hmm.
and this is relevant. Rise, I believe, killed like 90% of Hendrilisk's workers in the Pro League, completely. What we thought was shutting him down, and what was a almost for sure victory for Rise, very quickly turned around and became a defeat. So I
Wow.
mean, you can have really crazy things happen in ZvZ, and that's why I'm starting to like this matchup more and more. That or the fact that it's forced on me from how often we see ZvZ finals in various tournaments.
Don't get me started on that rant. I've
Whether
already done
it's
it once
co-
today.
Whether it's cause and effect, though, Gary Oak, I like this matchup more today than I did 5 months ago. I can say that much.
Me too. I can agree with you on that. And
Now,
I like the
ooh,
little wall off here, or mini
oh,
wall off from
this is
Rise.
cool. We've got Gosustyle going for that +1 armor early, and
I love
this
this.
this makes the early game so incredibly different. For those who don't know, by the way, this will allow Zerglings to actually take a Baneling hit without dying. You will require
Yep.
2 Banelings instead of just one to kill Zerglings. And even if you don't go the Baneling route, Zergling versus Zergling, that +1 armor is huge. You'll win every scrappy fight no matter what.
It's kind of interesting. This is like the only mirror matchup where +1 armor is oftentimes more effective than +1 attack. In PvP, obviously, attack is infinitely better than armor, and TVTs, well, you're using ranged units, so you want the attack first.
Very true, very true. Now, Rise go for a funky little wall off here at the front with that forward Baneling Nest. Meanwhile, Gosustyle, he's got that forward Spine Crawler, but no sign of a Baneling Nest yet. And, I mean, Granted, while +1 armor will help a ton, if your opponent has like banelings and you have none, +1 armor doesn't really matter so much.
We see Ryze is about 50 seconds ahead on his lair, and the whole
Oh, and
no
look at this
baneling thing,
wall.
it'll save him gas at the end of the day.
Oh, these banelings though are not quite finished. Goes just out, not sending go crazy. But with this full wall off, actually, Rise is gonna be very comfortable just keeping these two banelings at the entrance to the wall. There's no way for Gosustyle to poke in without losing his army.
Exactly, and he knew that, so he's like, well, I don't know how long those eggs or those cocoons have been morphing, so I'd better get out of there unless they explode right in my face, because that would suck.
Yeah, safe than sorry. Now, one thing I do want to point out is Gosustyle has taken all 4 of his gases, so it might just see Mutalisk come as soon as this layer is finished. But Rise also going for that early Spire. Gary Oak, Muta versus Muta is not something we see too often. I'm actually kind of excited.
Well, cue my canned rant about +1 armor in this case, because if you see Muta versus Muta, if you get +1 armor, you are going to decimate your opponent, unless, of course, your opponent has an overwhelmingly large number of Mutas.
Well, the RNG comes into a huge effect when it's Muta versus Muta. Where that Glaive Worm bounces, you can't control that, and that can just change everything.
That's true, but it looks like we've got Ryze going for a cancel, but more on the whole armor thing is it does 9, 6, 3 damage. Reduce that by 1 with every bounce. That is just exponential.
Yeah, it's incredibly good. But
That's
this
why you
third
need
base,
armor.
oh, those banelings, how did they not explode, Gary Oak? That was like,
wow, those Zerglings gave him a hug, and they're like, nope, none of that. We're antisocial banelings.
okay, now they finally connect, and this third will be forced to cancel.
I hope he cancels. He doesn't even cancel. Wow.
Scrappy little do on the ramp here, but the Spine Crawler gonna add some extra DPS. But I mean, Rise just has so many Zerglings, it almost doesn't matter what Gosustyle's got. It's gonna lose a Queen at home too, and that's pretty big. Losing that larva production is huge.
He's just filling in there. I'm surprised he hasn't broken a couple Zerglings off and morphed them into banelings in the corner, but
that +1 armor, man.
It up. Yep.
Gosustyle had significantly less workers, or sorry, Zerglings, and he just decimated Rise's little assault.
+1/+1 versus 0/0, man. Upgrades, so important. And
now,
we do see Infestors coming out, so it'll be Infestor versus Muta.
Yeah, Mutalisk coming out of Rise, he's very good at using them, but the problem is when you've got this many Zerglings on the field, Mutalisks aren't the best at cleaning them up. They're very fast, very mobile, but these Banelings will help. He's got to hold this third. This third is the biggest advantage he has against Gosustyle moving forwards.
So I just want to point out they're within 25 resources lost of each other right now, and neither have lost a drone.
Oh, wow. Meanwhile, Gosustyle trying to get for that run by. Does sneak by a little bit, but the Queen does help block. Quite a bit of scrappiness going outside the base of Complexity's Rise. I almost said coLRyze.
coLRyze, man. He had to rise through the ranks to advance to Colonel.
Well, 9 Infestors are about to pop for Gosustyle. And whether these Mutalisks are microed or not, that's a lot of energy to have to deal with.
Yeah, and we do see Infestors of Zone for Rise, unless he's actually just using that as a springboard to get the Hive.
Well,
which is a possibility.
+2 armor's about to come into, or has already started for Gosustyle, and this is, again, this armor path. He's going to win all these ground wars. The only thing he has to worry about is the Mutalisks, but of course with 9 Infestors, a couple of Infested Terrans, and a Fungal here or there, you'll be good to go.
And it looks like we've got some Zerglings moving in. They're going up into the natural, it seems.
Yeah, he saw all the Zerglings baited away, and look at these Infestors, go for that Fungal!
Forcing the Fungals out. This is actually really good, throwing away Zerglings for Fungals. That's fine if he follows this up with Mutalisks.
Not to mention that Rise scouted that there were 9 Infestors all clumped up right there, so he knows there's a considerable amount. He can't just go in blind with Mutalisks at this point. And look at this pre-spread, already just moving across the map scouting. He's got his Mutalisks split up in groups of 2, I love it.
Very, very good play here because, as you said, this really neutralizes Fungal and makes Infestors just not worth it against the Mutas. There's only anti-areas, no Hydralisk then at all, just 1 Spore at each base and a Queen. That's it.
And Rise with a Changeling here. He's going to lose the Overseer, unfortunately, to these Infested Terrans if he's not careful. Yeah, it does get
there's
Fungal.
the Fungal.
I feel
That's
like
a lot of energy for an Overseer.
I feel like a lot of these Fungals are getting, for lack of a better phrase, wasted. But of course, it is just energy, and the longer he gets to sit there and regen it, the freer it becomes.
That's true, but right now that is a little bit cavalier of him to
do
that.
Oh, look, 1 Mutalisk coming. If he can bait a Fungal with 1 Muta, he doesn't realize the Infested Terrans are still there, though.
Oh, bit of a misplay there, but it was only 1 Muta. Luckily, it wasn't a whole little crop of them.
A whole slew of them. A flock of Mutalisks.
A murder of Mutalisks.
That's probably the most accurate and best way to describe it.
A congress of mutalisks.
A congress, yes, I love it.
Apparently, that's what a large gathering of baboons is called.
Really, actually, I like that a lot.
I don't know if that's true. I may just be BSing. I checked that up. Anyway,
Well,
Mutalisks going into the main base here and loses a Muta to the Spore Crawler. That's pretty sloppy. Almost loses another one.
I think honestly, Ryze probably doesn't really care so much about these Mutalisks. I only say that because he's seen so many infestors at this point.
That's
And,
true.
Oh wow,
It's still a bit sloppy to throw him away though.
but Garyoke, if he can kill this gas, that's actually a little bit bigger than I think anyone realizes. Gas, of course, being an
It
integral
is.
part of a Zerg composition.
Transfuse
17
the
health.
geyser. He transfuses the geyser. Thank you.
Never will you ever see, against a GM player, a transfuse on a geyser aside from today. But meanwhile, Gosustyle is going for a fourth, and Ryze is starting to move out with his roaches. He's got a couple infestors. The question will be if they're enough. I mean, the +1, +2 on these Zerglings will actually make them a formidable opponent to these roaches.
We're going to be seeing Ultralisks soon as the cavern just finishes. I'd
Where
like to
do you
see
ever see Ultras in Zerg? What?
7 on the way. 7 Ultras.
Oh, but
No,
a fungal.
all these infestors. 3 just died.
And the rest of them are very low from that fungal. Unfortunately, Ryze, he's got one infestor left, but not enough energy to fungal again. But these roaches are doing a ton of damage, Garyoke.
Like to see more fungals. Oh, beautiful fungals going down on the army. The infestors are all dead.
Oh, and the
This
infested
roach
Terrans
attack
are
was
just going to
repulsed.
work. Meanwhile, from the north, we got another attack of roaches going straight for the natural, not actually wanting to deal with this mess
Oh,
here.
these mutants are going to get the infestation pit, and it goes down. That's huge.
Oh, wow. Ultras
But
do
these
pop, though,
Ultras,
and all of a sudden
surprise.
these roaches are kind of like, oh, well then. Okay.
Don't I feel useless now?
Well, they're actually taking out one of the Ultras here. It doesn't quite have all the upgrades at once. Only 2 in 1. Gets a transfuse off on it, but it's not enough. However, there's the big, I guess the Congress of Ultralisks now swarming in on the roaches that remain. And that splash damage versus armored is huge.
Oh yeah, it is. And these roaches are in a really nice position though behind the mineral line, kind of like Marines.
They
Making them
do
a
what they
little bit more
can.
annoying.
Ryze, though, he's got the dominating supply lead right now. I don't know if
This
these Ultras will
Muta.
be enough.
The 3-kill Muta in the main.
Was this still
Hacking
going?
away at Zevo Chamber. Yeah, there's one Muta in the main.
Yeah, if he chooses to ignore it, it will eventually kill the Evolution Chamber, and that's pretty big. But a little bit of kiting happening here from Ryze in the middle of the map. Actually, very beautiful kiting, taking down not 1 but 2 Ultralisks so far for the cost of very few roaches.
Oh, we see some infestors going into the
Wow.
natural, and they're turning around.
3 Ultralisks have fallen to this roach kite, I guess, method. Some fungal's going down, but of course it is an Ultralisk, so it doesn't really care.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird seeing it just sort of waddle around with that fungal, like all that fungus on its
But man,
back.
2 of these Ultras are so low, and I don't think Gosustyle has enough Queens to transfuse them full. These Ultras are more or less a waste of supply right now.
Yeah, and Ryze actually has a huge supply lead because Gosustyle has 80 drones to only 66 of Ryze, but Ryze is max, whereas Gosustyle is a good 26 or 27 off.
Gosustyle
That
does
max.
have that 4th base up and running, but it looks like Ryze is going to hit from 2 fronts, north and south, American Civil War, however you want to phrase it. Look at this, Garyoke.
I think this might be able to break him if he goes in. Where's the other part of his pincer? It's not moving in. Okay, there it is just now.
Oh, he's actually
That's a
not
lot of
choosing to fight.
overlords.
He's going to try and go up the ramp, but it's blocked heavily by these Ultralisks that are actually, ironically enough, blocked by the Queen.
Oh, nice fungals in that choke point there.
Ryze is losing all these roaches, though. I mean, granted, he is remaxing nearly immediately, but all of a sudden these Ultras are now being cost-effective rather than, I guess, dead weight.
Yeah, and Gosustyle actually, his superior economy and superior bank is starting to show through because look at Ryze. He doesn't have quite as much money in the bank. They're both around max now, but most of Ryze's supply is in roaches. He's got 51 roaches.
And
55.
He's so dedicated to this with the +2 upgrades, Garyoke. He doesn't even have any armor, and if he's going to slowly lose this game to upgrades, as we now have +3, +2 on these Ultralisks, +3 on the way. Does he have Kindness armor?
No chitinous, and he doesn't even have adrenal glands. I really like to see him that, as we know, adrenal glands does make your lings 20% cooler.
But look at this, the roaches are moving into the 3rd. Only 1 Ultralisk here to respond. Will it be enough? Oh man, a big hit though happening at the 4th as well. Gosustyle being spread a little bit thin, going on the offensive with his Ultralisks and Infestors.
He doesn't mind losing his satellite base if he can just strike at the heart of Ryze
this-
here. Oh, that's a lot of transferring drones.
Is this going to be a base trade situation in Ultra versus Roach?
I guess.
I don't have words for this, Gary Oak. This is so weird. This is the last thing I would have ever expected to see today in a ZvZ. But the one thing is,
I don't mind Zerg vs. Zerg as much anymore.
Gosustyle's trying to escape these drones. Ryze knows that if any of these escape, he could rebuild elsewhere. And Ryze doesn't mind losing his main because look, up here in the north, we got a sneaky little hatchery that's been made.
Ooh, that is a sneaky hatchery, but there are no drones added critically. Let's look at the drone count. 12 drones.
While there's no drones, look at this.
10 to
Actually,
5.
Gary Oak, this is huge. Right now, Gosustyle has no drones that escape the base, period. These buildings are all he has going for him.
Yeah, he's got 4 drones left, but 2 are in the main.
I don't think Gosustyle has the damage. I think he realizes this as he's coming home with the Ultralisks. But
He's
it
got
might
2
be
drones in the main, that's it. Wow.
it might be a little too slow, Gary Oak. His buildings will fall before the Ultralisks come home. And Ryze is going to win this really weird base trade situation.
Oh, wow. This is insane. And he's making a couple Mutalisks. I really like this decision. Because guess what can't hit air? But it'll take a long time for 2 Mutas to pick away at a billion Ultralisks.
Well, we have one single extractor here at the Natural that was forgotten about, unfortunately. And these Ultras are coming to work on these roaches.
He has 2 drones left. He can rebuild if he needs to. He's got a lot of money.
And
there
the roaches
is a
are
hatch
going to
going
fall.
down to the Natural.
Oh man, Gary, both these armies are so low. I don't even.
Look at the supplies.
I don't
Oh
even.
no! If he kills us, he killed the hatch. There's no drones left.
I was going for the extractor, but
Gosustyle
there's
has
a
no
hatchery at the
hatches.
third. The third base has a hatchery
does.
underway, just barely
Oh,
in
he
time.
does.
And Ryze has got to be
Wow.
like, what the frick is happening right now? I don't understand. But as you said, he's got Mutalisks on the field. They don't have a lot of damage, but Ultralisks cannot hit them.
Yeah, and if he just attacks, like flicks him on the hatch, it's game over.
Look at
He
the
can't
unit
cancel
counting
that
station
hatch.
right now. There is nothing on the field for either of these players. This has become the
20.
craziest end to a ZvZ I have ever seen.
Oh, there's one infester. If there's one infester, okay, he's got to protect the infester. Ooh, good catch on the drone. He kills those lings. That's actually a big deal. This
Yeah, but
guy's-
right now,
oh,
this last base, the Mutalisks are going to town out. Some Zerglings are coming in even to help swarm with this. I mean, this is gonna be a slow fight. It's the third base versus 4 Ultralisks. I don't know, Gary Oak. The thing
he's got an
is,
infester.
Ghost who doesn't know about the northern base, so I just checked his vision. He's gonna lose this game because he doesn't know about that base.
He might scout it. He might scout it.
Not in time, because this hatchery is already half dead. More Zerglings coming in, trying to sort of bait around this Ultralisk. It's playing point guard. But these Mutalisks, they don't even have to kill the hatchery. They can just pick off the drones. Gosustyle will
He's making
die.
a drone, so he's gonna. Where is his infester's dead? He lost the infester. I think the Zerglings got it. Oh,
Gary
that's
Oak,
huge.
this
He's no
is.
anti-air.
He's going for another hatchery.
He can do this. He can do this. He just has to find it. Oh, he's going to the north. He's going to the north with the Ultralisks.
Oh my god! I thought Ryze was
There
going
are
to win this
6
for
drones
sure,
left.
but this is going to be the end for Ryze. Gosu go to.
Not necessarily. There's 5 drones here. There's one more rogue drone somewhere else.
Where is that last drone, Gary Oak?
I don't know. There's lots of red everywhere because it's just overlords. Where is it?
And
Oh,
Ryze
Ryze
is
is defeated!
defeated.